everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Matches. Today, I'm being joined once again by Jake, Adam, and today we're being joined by my opponent from the RPO tournament, Beer, from Game 3.
What's going on, yo?
Hey, everyone.
Yo.
This is the first time I've ever done an actual webcam game, and you can see who has a better setup. Yeah, mine's kind of crooked as hell, but hey, it works.
Crash.
Today's matchup, I'm playing Hatchhyack, and Beer is playing Zamasu, the one against Dual Attack, which I think I always get confused, set 10.
Correct.
This breaks down to limited swings, and can I get you fast enough before you lock me out of my big boys? There's buttons. Let's get into it. All right. I've talked about Hatchhyack before, I think, on the channel. You want to kind of talk about your deck? Or what reason why you chose to play this one? Because for those who aren't familiar with the RPO, which I tend to do every year, you change decks out every round. You cannot use the same deck or roughly the same archetype for every round. That way it kind of changes things up so you're not just kind of taking tier decks to the very end.
Sure. So for Zamasu itself, I tried to build that just more to see if I can use it to counter the meta, because I've realized that recently, I don't know if everyone else has noticed, a lot of cards that are being played are 4 costs or more at this point. Almost every color has some 4-drop of this or that or whatever variety. So I'm sitting like, okay, well, is there a way to cheat out Tragedy Overground? And if there's a way to do this consistently, latest turn 3, turn 2, turn 3, you might be able to just win a whole event by itself. But I've been finding that it struggles a little bit against yellow, so I don't know. But for the RPO, decided to just play because it's fun, it's wacky, and, you know, nobody's going to expect it, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yellow's always been really good at just getting underneath Tragedy with a bunch of 3 and 2 cost bodies and attacking you to death that way. So I can see why Yellow's been kind of a problem for this list.
Yeah, I agree. The bigger issue too is that Goku Z card, the SSB one. Being able to say, oh, your leader can't swing is very detrimental to you, considering, you know, you give your leader dual attack and you draw off that. Because early on, if you do the combo, you have a very, very thin hand, like maybe 3 cards, and then you rebuild it with your leader swings.
Well, and the Z deck itself is able to get underneath Tragedy pretty easily as well.
Yeah, everything's exactly 3 cost out of the Yellow Z.
I will say I ended up having to resort to, at some point in this game, Z deck. Fun fact about this particular match, I think I showed my leader and you started cracking up because you almost actually played this deck as well, and it would have been a very interesting mirror deck.
Yeah, I took it to the recent regional. Obviously I didn't top, others you'd see it up there, but it was a pretty fun list, and I'm like, maybe I'd take this, but I'm like, you know what, let's just play Zamasu. That would have been jokes though, man.
Yeah, Hatchhyack versus Hatchhyack round 1, yeah.
Wait, is that 5 energy turn 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And we talked about it during a match. You were like, I'm just going to swing because you're tapped out. You can't petrify me. And then I'm going to do this afterwards. And yeah, from this point on out, I can't play none of my big boys. And I kind of want to talk about this interaction. Your leader is probably one of the very few leaders, which is a perfect counter to this deck as well, because you get multiple swings with a leader.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's too much value to be had, and like even the ability to just like pop an energy, just spell removal, like bottom deck any battle card on your opponent's board is also very, very clutch. In all honesty, like I don't think it came up in our matchups, but like it did happen to me earlier in testing. One of my friends, he played that SSB cow because your leader can't swing. I'm like, okay, well just bottom deck this other card and kill you. Who cares?
Well, and it's always really scary when you're going up against an opponent that is accustomed to playing the deck that you're playing, because they kind of know everything that you're going to be doing. They have an idea of your lines of play. That's always tough.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, your hatch list was pretty cool though. I liked it. I never thought of using that foo. That was a really nice deck. Like being able to just keep recycling things. I'm like, oh no, he can probably just warp all my Xeno unisons. That's going to be problematic.
Yeah, like... And that wasn't the intent at first. Since you brought it up, you will eventually do play one of those. And that's kind of what it becomes. Like, I just need to somehow keep you from just getting free advantage off that unison when you do get to that point. And that Fu mixed with other cards it's just really good. And I've done this before where I don't think I did in our matchup. Maybe I did, but I pulling super combos back to your hand is nice as well.
I think you did it the second game, the super combo.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
So here I can finally start swinging cards. It feels great to even try to get a damage into you. And here I'm just trying to build the Z deck, like I mentioned earlier. Now that I'm under strategy, I have to find other ways of getting attacks out. And this Boo being one of them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The Boo kind of scared me. I'm like, okay, probably runs 2. I really hope he doesn't run 3 copies or 4 copies. My defense in my hand was not that great. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you had a 3rd Boo or a 4th, like I think I probably would have lost the first round.
There's a couple of moments I remember you going, you're not going to, because I got to a point where I kept on like looking at my Z deck just to kind of look at it, knowing that I couldn't do furthering plays if I wanted to at that moment, but just kind of getting the idea maybe I do have one there. And I was also go on.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say whenever you're doing that, I'm like, oh god, is he getting another one? Oh no, please no.
Yeah, no. After this match, I made a decision. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a couple more. I don't have a full playset. I will soon now.
Yeah, it's a little too good.
We were just talking. Like this Boo is probably the best Black Z card.
Yeah, and like I'm a huge fan of AOD. It's one of my main decks I play, and anytime I look at the Z deck, I just want to play the Boo. And when I run out, I'm like, well, that sucks. So even though I couldn't kind of add real big pressure onto you every round, I just need to, like I said earlier, slow you down as much as possible, and I do that with Oceanus. And so I think here you actually popped your energy just to get rid of the Boo instead.
Yep. Like I said, being able to snipe anything is too important.
Yeah. And I don't think you ever once took the challenge for Oceanus.
No, I topped the region with Cooler Mill. I'm not taking any chances with no cards, bro. I'm not. I know better. I'm gonna do with my opponent there. I remember one of my rounds, the guy I played Oceanus, he's playing Register. He took the challenge, and I'm like, all right, dude, you want to lose?
Yeah.
Because like by the end of our match here, I couldn't afford to take the challenge because legitimately I only had 8 cards left in deck at the end of our match.
Yeah.
So like if I took that challenge, I would have lost. Because that's how you would win, is you stonewall me to the point where I mill out. Because leader's drawing 2 cards, you draw 1 for turn, and then I'll put the top card as well. That's like basically going through 4 cards in my deck every single turn.
Looking back at it, it's quite possible. As you see, I brought Smoke Dragon back to my hand using the Fu. Maybe it would have been smarter to not worry about Smoke Dragging Unison, but using it to just do other effects like sniping problematic cards and maybe allowing you to constantly do a +2 when you felt like it. But I was always afraid of you just doing the -5, and anything I had as defense is now gone.
I would never do the -5 because it gets rid of my field card.
Yeah, that is true. It would. Yeah,
sort of tragedy. Yeah.
Unless I'm going to establish a second one, then maybe. But the other thing too is, because my board is all indestructible, right? Like, there's nothing you can really snipe with Black Smoke other than like Z cards. There's not much other choices. And that is one of my win cons. Is like I'll slam down like 2 Vegetos and like a Beerus and just be like, all right, you have a good day, sir.
Yeah, that Beerus is so nice.
Beerus is broken.
And here I'm just responding the best way I can, just comboing cards off to build up a Z deck so I can play another Boo. If you had a target for me to snipe, I would take it and just go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's your only out, right?
Yeah. So
but wasn't it? Did your board get so wide that I just selled?
I don't remember if that was this game or not. I was annoyed that you had another Unison though.
Yeah, going right back into it.
I was annoyed too that I got another Unison. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, no, the deck's just very fun. It's just good value, but I think I need to tweak the list a bit more. I have threats, but it's lacking enough threats, right? Like it's like okay, I locked my opponent out, and then what?
Yeah. And
I've kind of had that experience against Zamasu when I'm playing yellow, where they tragedy me very early in the game, and everything I play from then on just gets underneath it, and they're like, "Oh, that probably was a waste of my indestructible blocker." Like, so I can totally see where there's situations where even though you've got the lock set up, you just really don't have anywhere to go from there.
Yeah, but the thing is, like the yellow cards that can swing under aren't usually the most threatening, right? It's like yellow's upright is always 4 or higher, right? Like the double strike boo, the Goku's an 8 drop, that Majin Vegeta's a 4, right? The double strike duo is a 4. The biggest things is maybe like the dual attack Vegeta Z card, the Majin Vegeta one, and like the Kaioken one, right? Like those are probably the usual like suspects, other than like I guess the 20k Vegeta for like Trunks Vegeta.
Yeah, Basil's probably pretty annoying for you too, where it's coming in for 2 19k swings and drawing your opponent a card as well.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, Basil can be dealt with because it's a 1 cost. You can always realm it. I'm not running realm in this list. I don't know. I just felt like UI was better for what I'm trying to do, but realm would usually be the natural conclusion there. So I think that might be a smart thing to like side that in versus yellow.
so for that turn, just trying to establish what I can. You keep it at bay. I do bring smoke back to my hand, so you know what's happening next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Beer, do you run many cards that are going to get hit by Hatchhyack's effect?
Not too many cards in all honesty. Like, I am only mainly swinging with like my leader and maybe my my dual attack 9 drop and like Z cards, right? So the only thing that's really gonna get hit by the effect is like my Z deck. So like the Beerus, the Cell, and the Vegetos are the things mainly. I also run like 121 as like an extra ramp, and it's good removal. But it's like usually it's like above it, like because it's like your SCR and your 9 drop, and like I run a singular infinite force in the deck as well. So like everything's above an 8 cost, and it is above 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I did play infinite force this game.
Which one's that again?
The 10 drop, the one from set 2.
Yeah, it kills an energy, a life, and a battle card on
Yeah,
swing.
you play it in one
And
of
a
our
card in
games. Yeah.
And a card
Yeah.
in hand, right?
I just don't remember what game it was.
I think it was this game, but you petrified it.
It's quite possible, yeah. So
That's right. I was gonna swing a beer. She's like, "Oh yeah, hatch." If I can, oh yeah, right. Okay, I'll just bottom deck that card.
yeah, which works just the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at a point where I don't really want to charge cards, but for some reason I needed cards in my warp. I don't remember why exactly, so I went ahead and overwhelmed to be able to get the charge out of the Goku. I don't remember what the thought process was there, but there's another smoke dragon for you. I remember asking, I was like, it comes in, it goes into energy. You're like, yeah, it goes in rest. I'm like, okay, cool. Sure, I'll do it anyways.
Yeah, I remember. You're like,
I remember why. I have a particular Z battle card. It's the Goku that gets kind of a buff.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one's a nice one.
So I wanted to kind of get the extra power off that when I went to go play that card.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that Goku's. I don't know. I find it weird. Like that Goku's so hit or miss. It's like it's always going to need that last little push, but otherwise it's so bad at the same time.
If I recall correctly, it's more expensive than I would like it to be for what it could do.
2-1.
Yeah, I think if it was a 1-2, it'd probably be a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, same with Domingo. Domingo should have been a 1. I can't believe they made that a 2-3. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. The maker can be kind of nice if you've already got like
Yeah.
ways to warp and everything, but I think you're right. I think it's a little bit clunky overall.
Yeah. It definitely should have been a 1-2 or whatever. You make it a 1-3, that's fine. Just make it 1 energy and lower its base power. And I trust, like, every black deck will play it because you're getting constant draw power and more removal, and it's going to build up Z energy anyway. So, like, who cares, right? It would have been good.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I feel like that was a big miss on Bandai's part. Oh, man, you were trying to hard defend this stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to go down to a certain point, but I do anyways, apparently, just now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's the infinite force. I put Petard on top of the 9.
yeah.
Just Petard 7.
Yeah, I do have one open energy, which I do petrify, like you mentioned earlier.
Right, I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm like, damn, this guy really just petrified this swing instead of the 9 drop. But you said I think you grabbed it from life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you would have been down to 1 life, and I think you would just die next turn then.
Yeah, this was just an excellent counter pick. Not that you knew he was playing Hatchhyack going into this, but just the way it worked out was just an excellent matchup.
Oh yeah, it was the worst case scenario.
There was a part of me at the very beginning, I was like, do I really want to go through this? And I think when you did strategy, I was like, what do I do? What do I do? Do you want to just go to game 2? And I'm like, no. I need to go.
That's right, I did say that.
I'm like, no, I have to get a shot. You're at 3 life now. I'm at 2 life. I have cards I can play there very cheap. I have 5 energy. I just got to try to knock you at some degree. And if I can get to the point where I feel comfortable, it'd be great.
Well, in Bancroft, you like to finish out games typically for the video, but I think that it also kind of speaks to your ability as a player that you want to kind of see what's in your opponent's deck so that, if you're going another round.
I will.
Exactly.
There are moments in a match where I will go, all right, let's just go to game 2. And you're right. Like, it's to the point where I am comfortable now. I know your deck. I know what to expect. I know what to go into. You change it up if we do sideboarding. That's fine. But I know the concept, what you're trying to do. And you come without that attack, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to beat you this turn. You got me. And we went in, and I did scoop there. I felt comfortable at that point. I knew there was nothing I could do. And I had a good idea now what to expect going into the next round. And speaking of the next round, you strategy at turn 2. We're not showing that video. This was probably the better. Well, this was the better of the 2, I think, just because of the back and forthness of it. Where in game 2, it was kind of like you did it, and you just welled. Secret Rare Gohan me went more and more.
The turn you tapped out that 1 turn. I took from 5 to 0. But like I will say, the sequencing I did in terms of like the aggressor, bro, you could not do that sequencing any better. I'm just gonna say it.
So thank you all for tuning in. Thanks, Beer, for joining us today. And like always, just buttons, links, check them out. Bye.